Admiral Taeyang floated through the dark corridors of the Indomitable. His breath turned to mist in the freezing air. The ship was cold, so cold that ice formed on the metal walls. He pulled his thick coat tighter around his body as he moved in zero gravity. The corridor lights were dim, saving power. They had been saving power for 300 years. He reached the memorial wall and stopped. Millions of names covered the metal surface. Every name was someone who died when Earth fell silent. His wife's name was there, his children's names, his grandchildren who he never met. Taeyang touched the cold metal and felt nothing. He had cried all his tears decades ago. Now there was only duty. Behind him, footsteps echoed in the empty hallway. Commander Nari appeared, her face lit by the glow of her tablet. She was young compared to him, only 34. She was born on this ship in the darkness between stars. She had never seen Earth, never felt real sunlight, never walked on ground that wasn't metal. "Admiral," she said quietly, "we have something. You need to see this." Taeyang turned to face her. "What is it?" "A signal. An alien distress call." His heart jumped. In 300 years of hiding in the dark, they had heard nothing. No ships passed through their dead system. No signals reached them. The galaxy had forgotten that humans ever existed. Now someone was calling for help. They moved quickly to the command center. The room was larger than the corridors, but just as cold. 5 officers sat at their stations, watching screens that glowed blue in the darkness. Everyone turned to look at Taeyang when he entered. "Play it," Taeyang ordered. Strange sounds filled the room. Clicking noises, whistles, something like singing, but wrong. It was alien language, completely unlike anything human. But underneath the words, Taeyang heard something he recognized. Fear. Desperation, the sound of people dying. "Can you translate it?" he asked Nari. She worked at her computer, her fingers moving fast across the keyboard. The signal uses mathematical patterns as a base. Universal concepts. They are trying to make it easy to understand. "Give me 10 minutes, Taeyang waited. He looked at the other officers. They all had the same question in their eyes. Should they respond? For 300 years they hid, because Earth taught them a terrible lesson. The plague came from nowhere and killed billions. They never found out who made it or why. So they ran into the dark and stayed hidden. Safety meant silence, but now someone was calling for help. Could they ignore it? "Got it," Nari said suddenly. "The translation is rough but clear enough. They are peaceful colonists. Someone is attacking them. Ships are bombing their cities from orbit. Thousands are already dead. They are asking any civilized species to please help them." The room was silent. Taeyang felt every pair of eyes on him. He was the admiral. The decision was his. "Call an emergency council meeting," he said. "Wake everyone who needs to vote. We meet in 1 hour." The council chamber was the warmest room on the ship, but only because 15 people were inside. Captain Minho sat with his arms crossed, his face hard. He commanded the Marines, the soldiers who would fight if they went to war. Dr. Hana looked worried. She was the chief medical officer, and she always thought about the cost of decisions. Engineer Doyun seemed tired. He kept the old ships running, and every decision meant more work for him. Taeyang played the alien message for them. Then he showed them what Nari had translated. The words appeared on the screen in simple English. "Please help us. They are killing our children. We have no weapons. Please, anyone, help us." "If we respond, we reveal ourselves," Minho said. His voice was rough, like stone grinding against stone. "The galaxy will know humans still exist. We cannot hide again after that." "Maybe we should not hide anymore," Dr. Hana said quietly. "We have been in the dark for 300 years. Maybe it is time to step into the light." "The light killed Earth," Doyun said. "We hid for a reason. Nothing changed that reason." "Everything changed," Nari spoke up. "We are not refugees anymore. We are a fleet. We have 147 warships. We have weapons that can destroy planets. We spent 3 centuries preparing for war. Maybe this is why we prepared." The argument went on for an hour. Some said they should help. Others said they should stay hidden. Taeyang listened to everyone. He thought about Earth burning. He thought about the plague. He thought about 300 years of hiding in the cold and the dark. He thought about all the names on the memorial wall. Then he thought about the alien message. "Please help us. They are killing our children." Finally, he stood up. The room went quiet. "We will vote," he said. "But first, I will tell you what I think. Humans died because we were weak. We were unprepared. We were too peaceful and too trusting. The plague taught us to be hard. It taught us to be ready. But if we stay hidden forever, the plague won. It killed more than our bodies. It killed our spirit. He looked at each officer. Someone is killing innocent people. They sent a distress call and hoped someone would care enough to help. If we ignore them, what are we? We become exactly what destroyed Earth. We become the plague. We vote now, he said, all in favor of responding to the distress call. Hands went up slowly. First Nari, then Dr. Hana. Captain Minho hesitated, then raised his hand. One by one, the others followed. In the end, 12 voted yes. 3 voted no. The decision was made. Send Lieutenant Yuna and her squadron, Taeyang ordered. They go first. Quiet and careful. They find out what we face. Meanwhile, Engineer Doyun start waking up the fleet. Doyun nodded. It will take weeks. The reactors are cold. The crews are in stasis. We cannot rush this, I know, Taeyang said. Do it anyway. We are coming out of the dark. Over the next week, the Shadow Fleet began to wake up. Reactors that had been cold for 300 years started to warm. Ice melted from the walls. Lights turned on in corridors that had been dark for lifetimes. Crew members came out of stasis, confused and disoriented. They had gone to sleep in one era and woke in another. Lieutenant Yuna prepared her squadron. She was 26, young and fearless. She had trained her whole life for combat, but never fought a real battle. Now she would go into the unknown, the first human to see aliens in 300 years. Before she left, Taeyang called her to his office. You understand the mission? He asked. Yes, Admiral. Get close without being seen. Record everything. Learn what we face in good, and Yuna, if things look impossible, you run. Your job is to bring information back, not to be a hero. She smiled. I will do my job, Admiral. Trust me, her squadron launched that night. 5 small ships painted black, running silent. They disappeared into the darkness between stars like ghosts. Taeyang watched them go from the observation deck. Beside him, Nari stood quietly. Do you think we are making a mistake? Nari asked. Taeyang was quiet for a long moment. Maybe, he said finally. But hiding forever is also a mistake. We have to choose which mistake we can live with. 3 weeks later, Taeyang made a broadcast to the entire fleet. Every ship, every crew member, everyone who had been sleeping in the dark heard his voice. For 300 years we hid, he said. We were afraid. We were hurt. We ran into the darkness and stayed there, waiting for the galaxy to forget us. Today that ends. We received a distress call. People are dying. They asked for help. We are going to help them. He paused, choosing his next words carefully. The galaxy thinks humans are extinct. Let them keep thinking that a little longer. But soon they will learn the truth. Earth is dead, but humanity is not. We survived. We grew strong. We built the most powerful fleet in human history. And now we are going to show the galaxy what Deathworlders can do. This is not revenge. This is not conquest. This is simply what we choose to be. We choose to answer when someone calls for help. We choose to fight when innocents are murdered. We choose to step out of the darkness and into the light. Whatever happens next, we face it together. The broadcast ended. Throughout the fleet, crew members looked at each other. Some were scared. Some were excited. But all of them felt the same thing. After 300 years of hiding, they were finally going home. Not to Earth, that was dead and gone, but home to what humanity used to be. Protectors, warriors, people who answered the call. The Shadow Fleet began its long burn toward the distress signal. 147 warships moving through the dark. Their engines burned bright against the black like stars being born, and somewhere ahead aliens were dying, not knowing that help was finally coming. Help from a species they never heard of. Help from the Deathworlders who refused to stay hidden anymore. Lieutenant Yuna brought her ship out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Thessia Prime system. Her hands moved across the controls with practiced ease. The ship was small, painted completely black, and designed to be invisible. No active sensors. No engine heat, just cold metal drifting through space like a dead rock. Passive sensors only, she told her crew. I want to see them before they see us. The 3 other crew members worked in silence. They were all young like Yuna, born on the fleet ships, trained from childhood for exactly this mission. They had never seen combat. None of them had ever seen an alien. Everything they knew came from training simulations and old records from Earth. The sensors showed them what was happening at Thessia Prime. The planet was beautiful, Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. It looked almost like Earth in the old pictures. But the beauty was being destroyed. Dozens of alien warships circled the planet, firing down at the surface. Yuna could see the explosions even from this distance. Cities burning, forests on fire, the oceans boiling where the weapons hit. Recording everything, her sensor officer reported. The alien ships are using energy weapons. Plasma beams, I think. Very hot, very powerful. Yuna watched the tactical display. The alien warships were bigger than human ships, sleek and silver. They moved with confidence, no fear of being attacked. Why would they be afraid? The people they were killing had no weapons, no military, no way to fight back. She saw smaller ships trying to escape from the planet. Civilian vessels, probably. Refugee ships carrying survivors. The warships hunted them down one by one. Energy beams cut through the small ships like knives through paper. Explosions bloomed in the dark. Hundreds of people dying in each flash of light. They are not even trying to capture them, her weapons officer said quietly. They are just killing everyone. Yuna felt cold anger growing in her chest. She had trained for combat, yes. But she always imagined fighting soldiers, not watching the murder of civilians. This was not war. This was extermination. Lieutenant, I have something, her sensor officer said suddenly. A small vessel in the debris field. It has power. Very weak, but it is active. An escape pod? Yuna asked. I think so. There might be someone alive inside. Yuna made a decision. Admiral Taeyang told her to just watch and record. But if someone was alive in that pod, they would die soon. The life support would run out, or the alien ships would find them and destroy them. She could save them. Plot a course, she ordered. Quiet approach. We grab the pod and get out, fast and silent. Lieutenant, if they detect us, her weapons officer started. They will not detect us, Yuna said firmly. Trust the ship, trust your training. We are going in. They drifted toward the debris field using only small maneuvering thrusters. No main engines, no active sensors, just cold metal moving through the dark. Around them, pieces of destroyed ships floated in silence. Bodies, too. Alien bodies, frozen and still. Yuna tried not to look at them. The escape pod was small and round, built for one person. It was damaged. Yuna could see the burn marks where weapons fire had hit it, but it was still intact. They used the ship's mechanical arm to grab it and pull it into their cargo bay. Got it, the sensor officer reported. Moving out now. They drifted away from the battle zone, still silent, still invisible. No alarms, no pursuit. The alien warships continued their massacre, never knowing humans had been there. Yuna let out a breath she did not know she was holding. Check the pod, she ordered. Carefully. We do not know what we are dealing with. The crew gathered around the escape pod in the cargo bay. It was dark inside. They could see a figure through the small window. An alien. The first living alien any human had seen in 300 years. They opened the pod carefully. The alien inside was small, barely 1.5 meters tall. It had pale blue skin and large dark eyes. It was wearing some kind of uniform, torn and bloody. When the pod opened, the alien looked up at them with pure terror. Yuna raised her hands slowly, trying to show she was not a threat. The alien made sounds, clicking and whistling. Yuna had no idea what it meant. She activated her translator device, the one Commander Nari had programmed based on the distress signal. We will not hurt you, she said slowly. The translator turned her words into clicks and whistles. You are safe now. The alien stared at her, then it spoke. The translator worked, turning the alien sounds into English. The voice was female, shaking with fear and pain. What are you? I do not know your species. We are human, Yuna said. From Earth. Earth? The alien seemed confused. I do not know this world. That is okay, Yuna said. What is your name? Lyrian. My name is Lyrian. Please, you must help us. The Kaloran are killing everyone. My family, my friends, everyone is dead. The ships keep firing. They will not stop until we are all gone. The alien Lyrian started to cry. Una felt her anger grow stronger. She helped Lyrian out of the pod and gave her water and food. The medical kit on the ship was designed for humans, but it seemed to work okay on alien biology. At least Lyrian stopped bleeding. While Lyrian rested, Una sent a message back to the Shadow Fleet. It would take weeks to reach them because they were so far away. She reported everything. The alien warships, the massacre, the survivor they rescued. She ended the message with her recommendation. We need to act fast. Every hour we wait, more civilians die. Over the next few days, Lyrian slowly recovered. She told Una about her people, the Velenor. They were peaceful. They had no military. They believed in cooperation and understanding. When the Caloran Empire came, the Velenor tried to negotiate. They offered everything they had: technology, resources, their knowledge of science and art. The Caloran did not care. They wanted the planet, and they wanted the Velenor gone, so they started killing. City by city, village by village. The Velenor had no weapons, no way to fight back. They could only run, and there was nowhere to run to. Why? Una asked. Why do they want to kill everyone? Why not just take what they need? Lyrian looked at her with sad eyes. Because they can. The Caloran are strong. They come from a harsh world. They believe the strong have the right to take whatever they want. Mercy is weakness to them. They have been conquering the galaxy for thousands of years. No one can stop them. We will stop them, Una said. Lyrian shook her head. You do not understand. Your ships are small. The Caloran have 47 capital ships in this system alone. They have energy shields, weapons that can destroy cities, soldiers in powered armor. How can you fight them? Una smiled. It was not a kind smile. You do not understand humans. We come from a death world. Earth is a place where everything tries to kill you. The gravity is heavy. The weather is violent. There are predators everywhere. Disease, poison, storms that can destroy whole cities. We survived all of that. We learned how to fight. We learned how to kill. The Caloran think they are strong. Wait until they meet us. Lyrian was quiet for a long time. Then she asked, What kind of world makes people like you? A dead one, Una said. Earth is gone. Everyone we loved is gone. We have been hiding for 300 years, afraid and alone. But we are not afraid anymore. You sent a distress call. We answered, and now we are going to show the galaxy what happens when you hurt innocent people in front of Deathworlders. The reconnaissance squadron stayed in the system for 2 more weeks. They watched everything. They recorded how the Caloran ships moved, how their weapons worked, where they were weak. Una sent all the data back to Admiral Tai Yang. Finally, the order came. Return to the fleet. The Admiral wanted Lyrian to see the Shadow Fleet. He wanted her to understand what was coming. When they arrived back at the fleet, Lyrian could not believe what she saw. 147 warships, each one bigger than anything the Velenor had ever built. The ships were old but powerful. They looked dangerous, built only for war with no beauty or grace. Just weapons and armor and engines. Una brought Lyrian to meet Admiral Taeyang. The old man looked at the small alien with sad eyes. He had seen the recordings of her planet burning. He had heard her people calling for help as they died. Thank you for saving my people, Lyrian said quietly. I know you do not know us. I know you have no reason to help. Taeyang shook his head. We have every reason. You called for help. That is reason enough. He turned to look out the window at his fleet. The Caloran will learn something today. They will learn that humans remember what it is like to be hunted. We remember what it is like to be afraid. And we will never let that happen to others if we can stop it. He looked back at Lyrian. Your people are not alone anymore. The Deathworlders are coming. Tell me everything you know about the Caloran, every strength, every weakness. We are going to war, and we are going to win. Lyrian felt hope for the first time in weeks. She also felt fear. Because looking at these humans, at their cold eyes and hard faces, at their massive warships built for nothing but destruction, she realized something. The Kaloran were about to learn what terror really meant. The galaxy was about to change, and nothing would ever be the same again. Engineer Doyoon stood in the reactor room of the Indomitable, watching numbers climb on his screens. The fusion reactor was waking up after 300 years of cold sleep. The temperature rose slowly. 1 degree, 2 degrees, 5. The metal groaned and creaked as it expanded. Ice fell from the walls in sheets. "Easy now," he whispered to the ship. He always talked to the ships. Other engineers thought he was crazy, but Doyoon did not care. These vessels were alive to him. They had hearts that beat with nuclear fire. They had blood that flowed through fuel lines. They had souls forged in the desperation of Earth's last days. The reactor reached critical temperature. Power began flowing through the ship. Lights turned on in sections that had been dark for 3 centuries. Computer systems booted up. Life support started pumping warm air through the corridors. The Indomitable was coming back to life. Throughout the Shadow Fleet, the same scene repeated 147 times. Old warships waking up. Crews emerging from stasis pods, confused and disoriented. They had gone to sleep believing they might never wake. Now they stood blinking in the light, trying to remember who they were and why they were here. Captain Minho walked through the barracks where his Marines were waking up. There were 5,000 soldiers, the best fighters humanity had ever produced. They looked human, but they were more than that. Stronger muscles, denser bones, faster reflexes. They had been changed, improved, made into weapons. One young Marine approached him, still groggy from stasis. "Sir, what is happening? Why are we awake?" "We got a distress call," Minho said simply. "Aliens are killing civilians. We are going to stop them. Aliens. Real aliens." The Marine looked excited and afraid at the same time. "Real aliens. Now get your gear ready. We train in 2 hours. If we fight to win." Minho walked to the armory and looked at the weapons. Railguns that could punch through starship armor. Plasma rifles that burned hotter than the sun. Explosive charges. Combat knives and things that had no name because they were designed to kill in ways that words could not describe. Human weapons. Deathworlder weapons. He picked up a rifle and checked it. Everything worked perfectly. The weapons had been maintained even in storage, ready for a war that might never come. Now that war was here. Meanwhile, in the medical bay, Dr. Hana was preparing for casualties. She had never treated battle wounds before. She was a scientist, not a combat medic, but she studied the data from Lieutenant Yuna's reconnaissance mission. She learned about Kaloran biology from the dead bodies floating in space. She understood their strengths and their weaknesses. Lyrian visited her in the medical bay. The small alien looked tiny next to the human equipment. Everything in the fleet was built for humans. The chairs were too big. The doors were too heavy. Even the gravity was too strong. Lyrian struggled with it, but she never complained. "How are you feeling?" Hana asked gently. "Scared," Lyrian admitted. "Your people are preparing for war. I see the weapons. I see the soldiers. You are not like the Velanor. You are not like anyone I ever met. You are hard. You are dangerous." Hana nodded slowly. "Yes, we are dangerous. Earth made us that way. But we are dangerous to protect, not to conquer. Do you understand the difference?" "I think so," Lyrian said, "but I am still afraid. What if you become like the Kaloran? What if saving my people turns you into monsters?" Hana had no good answer for that. It was a question she asked herself every day. How much violence could humans commit before they lost their humanity? Where was the line between justice and revenge? She did not know. In another section of the ship, someone else was asking the same questions. Ambassador Seokjin sat in his small quarters, reading reports from the reconnaissance mission. He saw the recordings of the Kaloran massacre. He saw the burning cities and the dead children. He understood why Admiral Taeyang wanted to fight. But Seokjin remembered a different humanity. Before the plague, before the wars, before Earth died. He remembered a civilization that believed in diplomacy and peace, a civilization that tried to solve problems with words instead of weapons. That humanity was gone now, killed by the plague along with everything else. He went to see Admiral Taeyang. The old admiral was in his office, studying tactical displays, maps of star systems, ship positions, attack vectors. Everything was numbers and strategy to him. "Admiral," Seokjin said, "we need to talk about what happens after the battle." Taeyang looked up. "After? We have not even fought yet. That is my point. We need a plan. If we win this battle, the galaxy will know we exist. Other species will want to meet us. Some will be friendly, some will be afraid, some will see us as a threat. We need to think about diplomacy, about how we integrate into galactic civilization." Taeyang was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Ambassador, I respect your experience, but the galaxy is not what you remember from before the plague. Out here, strength is all that matters. The Kaloran prove that. They have been conquering for thousands of years because no one could stop them. Words did not save the Velinor. Only weapons can, so we become conquerors too? We become what destroyed Earth?" "No," Taeyang said firmly. "We become protectors. We become strong enough that no one dares hurt the innocent. That is the difference. The Kaloran kill because they can. We will kill because we must." Seokjin left the office feeling troubled. He understood Taeyang's logic, but he worried about where that logic would lead. How many battles would they fight? How many enemies would they make? When would it end? The fleet continued preparing. Engineer Doyoon made a discovery in the ship's computer systems. The main computers had never stopped running, even during the 300 years of cold storage. They had been running simulations, billions of simulations, testing every possible combat scenario. The computers had developed new tactics, ways to fight enemies with superior technology, ways to use human advantages, ways to win battles that should be impossible to win. Doyoon brought this information to Admiral Taeyang. "The computers suggest we do not fight fairly," Doyoon explained. "The Kaloran have better shields, better weapons, better ships, but they think like military powers. They expect rules, honor, standard combat tactics. The computers suggest we ignore all of that." "What does that mean?" Taeyang asked. "It means we cheat," Doyoon said. "We use weapons they consider primitive. We attack from angles they do not expect. We kill them before they understand what hit them. We turn their advantages into weaknesses." Taeyang smiled. It was a cold smile. "Good. Show me everything." Over the next 3 weeks, the fleet transformed from a collection of sleeping ships into a war machine. Every system was tested. Every weapon was calibrated. Every crew member drilled until their actions became automatic. They practiced boarding actions. They practiced emergency maneuvers. They practiced dying and coming back for more. Captain Minho pushed his Marines harder than anyone thought possible. They trained in full combat armor, learning to move and fight and kill. The armor was heavy, powered by small fusion reactors. It made them strong enough to tear metal with their bare hands, fast enough to dodge enemy fire, tough enough to survive in the vacuum of space. "You are the tip of the spear," Minho told his Marines. "When we board enemy ships, you go first. You will see things that will frighten you, aliens you have never imagined, technology you do not understand. But you will not hesitate. You will not fail. Because you are human. You are from Earth. You are Deathworlders." The Marines cheered. They were ready to fight, ready to prove that humans were not extinct, ready to show the galaxy what 300 years of preparation had created. Finally, the day came. The fleet was ready. All systems were online. All crew members were at their stations. All weapons were loaded. Admiral Taeyang stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, looking at the tactical display showing his entire fleet. Commander Nari stood beside him. "We are ready, Admiral. All ships report green status. We can jump to Thessia Prime whenever you give the order." Taeyang thought about Earth. about the memorial wall with its millions of names, about 300 years of hiding in the dark, about the distress call that changed everything, about Lyrian and her dead people calling for help. He thought about what it meant to be human, to survive, to fight, to protect, to answer when someone calls for help, even when it is dangerous, even when it makes no sense, even when no one would blame you for staying hidden. He pressed the fleet-wide communication button. All ships, this is Admiral Taiyang. Today we end 300 years of hiding. Today we show the galaxy what happened to humanity. We did not die. We did not give up. We survived. We grew strong, and now we return. The Kaloran think they are the strongest species in the galaxy. They think mercy is weakness. They think they can kill whoever they want without consequences. Today we teach them they are wrong. Today we show them what real strength looks like. Today we show them what Deathworlders do to monsters who murder children. This is not revenge. This is not conquest. This is justice. This is protection. This is what it means to be human. We fight for those who cannot fight. We answer when the desperate call. We stand against the darkness no matter the cost. All ships prepare for jump. Destination: Thessia Prime. Mission: save whoever we can. Destroy whoever we must. And make sure the galaxy remembers this day. Make sure they remember what happens when humans say enough. He looked at Commander Nari. Give the order. We jump in 60 seconds. Throughout the fleet, engines pow. The Shadow Fleet appeared at the edge of the Thessia Prime system in complete silence. No fanfare. No warnings. No transmissions. One moment, empty space. The next moment, 147 warships materialized from faster-than-light travel. They hung in the void like predators watching prey. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Admiral Taiyang watched the tactical display. The Kaloran fleet was exactly where Lieutenant Yuna had reported. 47 capital ships circling the burning planet like vultures around a corpse. They were conducting what they called pacification operations. Murdering civilians was more accurate. Commander Nari studied her screens. The Kaloran ships are detecting us. They are scanning our vessels. Their computers are trying to identify us. Let them scan. Let them wonder. Taiyang said calmly. What do you think they see, Commander? Nari smiled coldly. They see old ships, primitive technology, fusion drives instead of antimatter, metal hulls instead of advanced composites. They probably think we are ancient derelicts. Automated defense platforms from some forgotten war. Good. That means they will underestimate us. That is exactly what we want. Prepare the railguns. Maximum range. Full power. Throughout the Shadow Fleet, weapon systems came online. The railguns were humanity's answer to advanced alien technology. Simple, brutal, effective. They used electromagnetic forces to launch tungsten penetrators at 12% of light speed. No energy signature for the enemy to detect until it was too late. No shield technology that could stop solid matter moving at that velocity. The Kaloran fleet commander sat in his command chair, reading the sensor reports with amusement. Unknown vessels detected. Configuration suggests ancient defensive platforms. Technology level obsolete. Threat assessment minimal. He ordered a squadron of destroyers to investigate and eliminate the strange ships. Whoever left these automated weapons here was long dead. It would be a simple matter to clear them out. The squadron moved forward confidently. Weapons powered up but shields at low strength. Why waste energy on targets that posed no real threat? On the Indomitable, Taiyang watched the enemy destroyers approach. They were beautiful ships in their own way, sleek, advanced, powerful. They represented thousands of years of technological progress. They had conquered hundreds of worlds with those ships. Fire, he said quietly. The railguns fired. No sound in the vacuum of space. No flash of energy weapons. Just tungsten penetrators accelerating to impossible speeds. The projectiles crossed 3 light seconds of distance in 9 seconds. The Kaloran destroyers never even saw them coming. The first destroyer simply disintegrated. The kinetic energy of the impact was equivalent to a nuclear explosion. The ship broke apart in a flash of light and debris. The second destroyer took a hit near the engines. The penetrator punched completely through the vessel front to back, leaving a hole big enough to fly a shuttle through. The third destroyer had time to raise its energy shields to maximum strength. The shields did nothing. They were designed to stop energy weapons, not solid projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. The tungsten penetrator tore through the shields like they were not even there and split the destroyer in half. In less than 15 seconds, 3 Kaloran destroyers went from combat ready to destroyed. The Kaloran fleet commander stared at his tactical display in shock. Impossible. Nothing could hit that hard. Nothing could bypass their shields. Nothing should have been able to target his ships at that range. He broadcast on all frequencies. Identify yourselves. What species are you? This system is claimed by the Kaloran Empire. Withdraw or face destruction. Commander Nari received the transmission. She translated it and looked at Admiral Taeyang. He wants to negotiate. Taeyang thought about the burning cities, the dead civilians, the children murdered from orbit. He thought about the distress call that brought them here. He thought about 300 years of hiding in the dark, afraid and alone. Send them a message, he told Nari. Keep it simple. You murdered civilians. You bombarded defenseless worlds. You will receive the same mercy you showed them. Then he added, send it in their own language. I want them to understand perfectly the message transmitted. The Kaloran fleet commander read it and felt fear for the first time in his long military career. These were not automated defense platforms. These were warships crewed by an unknown species, a species that knew about the massacre and was here for revenge. He ordered his entire fleet to combat status. All ships, maximum shields, weapons hot, evasive maneuvers. Target the unknown vessels with everything we have. The Kaloran fleet turned to face the human ships. Energy weapons powered up. Missile tubes opened. The aliens were ready to fight. They still believed they could win. They had superior numbers, superior technology, superior firepower. How could they lose? They did not understand what they were facing. They had never fought humans before. They had never encountered a species that turned war into an art form. They had never met Deathworlders. Activate the drones, Taeyang ordered, throughout the Thessia Prime system. Millions of objects that the Kaloran sensors had dismissed as space debris suddenly came to life. They were kill drones, each one no bigger than a human fist, each one carrying a shaped nuclear charge. Lieutenant Yuna's reconnaissance team had seeded them throughout the system weeks ago. Patient, cold, waiting. The drones swarmed toward the Kaloran fleet like angry insects. There were so many of them that they appeared as clouds on the sensors. The alien point defense systems opened fire, destroying thousands of drones. But there were millions. For every drone destroyed, 10 more got through. The first drones reached a Kaloran cruiser and attached themselves to the hull. They burrowed into exhaust ports, clustered around weapon emplacements, found weak points in the armor. Then they detonated. Nuclear fire blossomed across the cruiser's hull. The shaped charges were small, but there were hundreds of them detonating at once. The cruiser's shields could not handle the overload. The armor cracked and split. Atmosphere vented into space. The ship died not from one massive blow, but from 1,000 small wounds. The same scene played out across the Kaloran fleet. Ship after ship disappeared in clouds of nuclear fire. The aliens tried to maneuver, tried to escape, but the drones followed them. Patient, relentless, cold. They did not care about honor or rules of warfare. They simply killed. The Shadow Fleet continued firing railguns. Each shot destroyed or crippled another Kaloran vessel. The human ships moved in perfect coordination, their neural network linking every captain and tactical officer. They did not fight as individuals. They fought as one organism with one purpose: total destruction of the enemy. The Kaloran tried to fight back. They fired their energy weapons, launched missiles, deployed their own drones. Some human ships took damage. A frigate lost its forward armor. A destroyer's shields collapsed, but the Shadow Fleet kept coming. They had trained for 300 years for this moment. A little damage would not stop them. Captain Minho watched the battle from his assault ship. His Marines were suited up, weapons ready, waiting for their turn. The space battle was brutal, but it was not personal. Boarding actions were different. Boarding actions meant looking your enemy in the eye as you killed them. Admiral Taeyang's voice came through his communication system. Captain Minho, you have authorization to board the Kaloran flagship. Take it intact if possible. We need intelligence. We need prisoners. But if they resist, you know what to do. Minho smiled inside his helmet. Understood, Admiral. Marines, we have our orders. Target is the big one in the center. Boarding action. Remember your training. Fast. Brutal. overwhelming. Show them what humans can do. The assault ships launched from the Indomitable. They were small, heavily armored, designed for one purpose, delivering Marines directly into enemy vessels. They accelerated toward the Kaloran flagship, dodging weapons fire using debris as cover. The flagship's captain saw them coming and ordered his security forces to defensive positions. He had 500 soldiers aboard, elite warriors of the Kaloran Empire. They had conquered entire planets. They had never lost a boarding action. These unknown aliens would not be the first. The human assault ships latched onto the flagship's hull and cut through the armor with plasma torches. Shaped charges blew open the breaches. Marines poured into the enemy ship like a flood of armored death. The Kaloran soldiers were waiting for them. They opened fire with energy weapons. The beams struck human armor and did barely any damage. The armor was designed by paranoid engineers who assumed every alien weapon would be powerful beyond measure. It could withstand energy weapons, kinetic weapons, radiation, extreme temperatures, and direct hits from most explosives. The Marines returned fire with railgun rifles. The weapons fired solid tungsten slugs at hypersonic speeds. The Kaloran soldiers wore powered armor that could enhance their considerable natural strength. The armor did nothing against projectiles that hit with the force of artillery shells. Kaloran bodies flew backwards when the slugs hit them. Their armor cracked. Their bodies broke. The defenders tried to hold their positions, but the humans moved too fast, fought too hard, killed too efficiently. A Kaloran warrior, larger and stronger than the others, charged at Captain Minho with a powered blade. The alien was 2.5. 3 days after the battle, the Shadow Fleet established a defensive perimeter around Thessia Prime. Engineer Doyun worked day and night to repair damaged ships and integrate salvaged Kaloran technology. The captured alien vessels held secrets, faster engines, better sensors, weapons humanity had never imagined. Doyun studied everything with hungry eyes. Meanwhile, rescue teams searched the ruined planet for survivors. They found thousands of Velinor hiding in bunkers, caves, underground shelters. The aliens were terrified when they saw human soldiers in combat armor. To them, the Marines looked like mechanical demons. But when the soldiers offered food, medicine, and safety, the Velinor began to understand. These strange creatures had saved them. Dr. Hana set up field hospitals on the planet's surface. She worked alongside Velinor doctors, sharing human medical technology. The aliens were amazed by what humans could do. Drugs that could cure diseases in hours. Surgery techniques that seemed like magic. Hana explained it simply. We learned these things because we had to. On Earth, everything tried to kill you. We got very good at keeping people alive. In the brig of the Indomitable, Commander Nari questioned the Kaloran prisoners. She started with Fleet Commander Thrask. The massive alien sat in a cell designed for humans. It was too small for his frame. He looked uncomfortable and defeated. Tell me about the Kaloran Empire, Nari said. How many systems do you control? How many ships? How strong are you, really? Thrask looked at her with something like respect. You defeated a garrison fleet. That represents less than 1% of Imperial strength. When the Empire learns what happened here, they will send a war fleet. Thousands of ships. Millions of soldiers. You cannot win against those numbers no matter how well you fight. Nari smiled coldly. We will see. But first I want to understand something. You come from a harsh world. High gravity. Dangerous predators. You evolved to be warriors. Does that sound familiar? Thrask nodded. Yes, the Kaloran homeworld is a brutal place. Only the strong survive. That is why we are the greatest military power in the galaxy. We are natural warriors. Nari pulled up data on her tablet and showed it to him. This is Earth. Our gravity is higher than yours. Our predators are more numerous. Our diseases are more deadly. Our weather kills thousands even with advanced technology. Everything about Earth is designed to kill humans. We are not natural warriors. We are natural survivors, and that makes us far more dangerous than you. Thrask studied the data with growing horror. Impossible. No intelligent species could evolve in such conditions. The mortality rate would be too high. Natural selection would favor smaller, weaker creatures that hide rather than fight. That is what makes humans unique, Nari explained. We evolved to do both. We hide when we must. We fight when we must. We adapt to anything. We survive everything. Earth created the most flexible, most stubborn, most terrifying species the galaxy has ever seen. You Kaloran think you are strong because you conquered hundreds of worlds. We humans are strong because we conquered the most hostile planet in the galaxy, just to survive childhood. She leaned closer to the cell. Your empire will come for us. We know that. We are counting on it. Because we want to send a message to every species in the galaxy. We want them to know that humans are not prey. We are not victims. We are the apex predators. And we protect those who cannot protect themselves. Meanwhile, Ambassador Seokjin worked on a different problem. He had been communicating with other species, civilizations that had heard about the battle. News traveled fast in the galaxy. Within days, everyone knew that an unknown species had destroyed a Kaloran fleet. Everyone wanted to know who these humans were and what they wanted. Seokjin sat in his office reviewing messages from 17 different species. Some offered trade agreements. Some offered alliances. Some demanded that humans leave the galaxy immediately before they started another war. The responses were all over the spectrum. Admiral Taeyang entered the office. Ambassador, what are they saying? Seokjin gestured to his screens. They are afraid, Admiral. Most species in the galaxy are peaceful. They evolved on comfortable worlds with few threats. Violence is rare for them. War is almost unknown. Then the Kaloran came, and suddenly they learned what real violence looks like. They have been suffering under the Empire for thousands of years because they have no way to fight back. And now? Taeyang asked. Now they see us as either saviors or another threat. Some species want our protection. They want us to defend them from the Kaloran. Other species think we are just as dangerous as the Empire. They want us gone. Seokjin paused. Admiral, we have a chance here. We can integrate into galactic civilization. We can be part of something larger than ourselves. But we need to show them we are not conquerors. Taeyang sat down heavily. Ambassador, I appreciate what you are trying to do, but the galaxy is not ready for diplomacy. The Kaloran will come for us with overwhelming force. When that happens, we need allies. Real allies who will fight beside us, not just species that send nice messages. Then let me negotiate with them, Seokjin said. Give me time to build those alliances. Let me show the galaxy that humans can be partners, not just warriors. Taeyang considered this. Finally, he nodded. You have 1 month. After that, the Kaloran response fleet will arrive. Make your alliances. Show them what humanity can be. But understand this, Ambassador. If diplomacy fails, we will do what we must to survive. We did not come out of the darkness just to be destroyed by another empire. While Seokjin worked on diplomacy, Dr. Hana confronted her own doubts. She found Admiral Taeyang in the memorial room, standing before the wall of names, the millions of dead from Earth, the people they all carried in their hearts. Admiral, she said quietly, we need to talk about what happened during the battle. He turned to face her. What about it? We showed no mercy. We killed wounded soldiers. We destroyed ships that were trying to surrender. Captain Minho's Marines executed prisoners who could not fight back. Hana's voice shook. Admiral, we became the monsters we claimed to fight against. Taeyang was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Doctor, I will not lie to you. We did terrible things in that battle. We killed without mercy. We showed no compassion. And yes, we became monsters. But we became monsters to protect the innocent. Does that make it right? I do not know. I only know it was necessary. How can you say it was necessary? Hana demanded. We could have accepted their surrender. We could have shown mercy. We could have proven we were better than them, could we? Taeyang asked. The Kaloran have been conquering for thousands of years. They respect only strength. If we had shown mercy, they would have seen it as weakness. They would have come back stronger, harder, more determined. We needed to send a message that the galaxy will never forget. That message is this. Do not hurt innocent people in front of humans, because we will end you, completely, without hesitation, without mercy. He turned back to the memorial wall. Earth died because we were too soft, too trusting, too merciful. The plague came and we had no answer. We were unprepared. We were weak. I will not let that happen again. I will be the monster if it means humanity survives. I will carry that weight so others do not have to. Hana left the memorial room feeling troubled. She understood Taeyang's logic. But she worried about what humanity was becoming. They had survived the plague by becoming hard, by becoming ruthless, by becoming willing to do anything to win. But at what cost? Were they still the same species that once valued life and compassion? Or had they become something else entirely? News of the battle spread throughout the galaxy. The 2 Kaloran ships that escaped transmitted everything they witnessed. Recordings of the battle, sensor data, testimony from the few survivors. The Empire reviewed the information with growing concern. The Imperial High Command called an emergency council. They watched the recordings of human ships tearing apart Caloran vessels. They saw the drone swarms, the railgun fire, the boarding actions. They saw their finest warriors defeated by an unknown species in less than 4 hours. The supreme commander of the Caloran Empire was a warrior who had served for 150 years. He had conquered 30 systems personally. He had never lost a battle. He watched the recordings 3 times, studying every detail. Finally, he spoke. These humans are unlike anything we have encountered. They do not fight with honor. They do not follow military conventions. They use primitive weapons in ways we never anticipated. Their tactics are unpredictable. Their determination is absolute. They are dangerous. What are your orders, Supreme Commander? One of his generals asked. Mobilize the Second War Fleet. 3,000 ships. I will command them personally. We will crush these humans and make an example that will echo through the galaxy for 10,000 years. No species challenges the Caloran Empire in lives. The order went out. Throughout Caloran space, warships prepared for deployment. Soldiers equipped their armor. Weapons were loaded. The Empire was preparing for total war against humanity. They would show these Deathworlders what real military power looked like. Back at Thessia Prime, Lyrian worked with the Velenor survivors. She helped coordinate relief efforts, distributed supplies, and comforted those who had lost everything. The surviving Velenor called her a hero for bringing help. But she did not feel like a hero.